WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 14th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today. It's going to be hot. The high 96. Tonight and overnight clear, low 79. And then Wednesday, sun and clouds, warm again, the high 100. If you are walking out the door with us right now, 72 and clear in Riverhead out on Long Island. It's 70 and clear in Glen Rock over in New Jersey. And it's 71 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Yeah, here comes the heat. There's a desperate search for a missing man in the Hudson Valley. The very last moments of Lindsey Graham's life. A gold bar scam is fooling seniors on Long Island. And some neighbors in Queens are taking in their lawn statues. All right, let's get into it at 5:04. Next couple days going to be uncomfortable, but you know, it is the summertime. It's supposed to be warm. Here comes the heat. It will not be as bad as last heat wave. Mayor Mamdani activating the city's heat emergency plan last night with temperatures expected to feel in the upper 90s today. Well, it actually will be the upper 90s today. The heat index climbing into the low hundreds. The stretch of heat not expected to be as severe or last as long as the most recent heat wave. But the mayor warning neighbors, residents that conditions could be deadly. As part of the heat emergency plan, cities can activate hundreds of cooling centers as they have in the past. That will begin today. You can find a list of locations, those cooling centers, along with some pools. City pools are going to be open late over the next couple of days by heading on over to 311. And New Yorkers say, you know, it is summer and it's supposed to be hot.
Best I can. What else are you going to do? Got to come to work. What are you going to do? It's Mother Nature. Nothing you can do about it.
No.
Water and lots of sunscreen so where your eyes are burning.
Actually, I got some water. I'm just trying to survive out here. It's about to get real hot.
Yeah, so the high heat, it'll last through Friday. I looked ahead to Saturday. It'll only be a high of 80 on Saturday. So just a couple days of this. 5:05 up to the Hudson Valley. New York State troopers, firefighters, state forest rangers looking for a public official in Dover who vanished from his backyard on Sunday. This is a strange story. 49-year-old Ryan Courtnian went to do yard work on Sunday morning and apparently never came back inside the house. This prompted a call to police, a large search operation in the area of Old Paulding Road. He left his cell phone, other personal items inside his home. Here is the current town supervisor in Dover who knows Courtney well.
We're doing everything we can to try to find our friend.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
Yesterday morning. Yep, through a text message.
Okay, just before.
Just before. Town business. And, you know, see you later. And that's the last I heard from him.
Yeah, so the fact that the phone was left inside his personal items, now that could have just been because he was doing gardening work in the backyard. He didn't need them, or he didn't want to be found, right? I mean, you can ping a phone now and find somebody rather easily. The staging area continued to grow last night across Dutchess County as more agencies arrived. Several trailers full of equipment, ATVs from the New York State Division of Homeland Security. They arrived late Monday to assist in the search for Courtney. And they searched swamps, ponds, and hiking trails yesterday. Here's somebody, a spokesperson for the state police.
Yes, it is pretty remote. Cell phone service, the terrain, like you said, it does make it quite difficult. We are asking the public, though, to check any ring cam, any surveillance footage that they may have. No tip is too small to contact New York State Police Troop K headquarters with any information. All
right. So Courtnian is not just a public official up in Dover. He's also a math professor, apparently an ardent supporter of nature preservation along the Appalachian Trail, and the father of a college student. He was last seen wearing tan pants and a black T-shirt. So far, no sign of him. They'll be back in the woods again today looking for him. WABC News Time 5:09. Did you see what Axios is reporting this morning? They say Senator Lindsey Graham reportedly wanted to hold off getting medical assistance until after his scheduled appearance on NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday. That was Saturday that he came home from a trip to Ukraine. And in what could have been his final conversation, Graham, who suddenly died at 71 years old after a brief and sudden illness, told a person that he was feeling unwell. This according to Axios. When the person pushed the lawmaker to get medical attention, he reportedly said he would do so after his TV hit. And he said, "I can't die now." This is the quote that he gave to Axios. "I still need to do the Russia sanctions, get Iran sorted out, and do Israeli-Saudi normalization." That's according to this report. This is what he told an aide. And then, of course, he died just a couple hours later. Speculation continues as to what may have led to Senator Graham's death. You had Greg Kelly, of course, the afternoon talk show host here. He's a former military pilot, and he said the C-17 military transport plane that Graham flew back from Ukraine back to Washington, he said that's a concern for him. Here's Greg Kelly explaining that.
A C-17 Globemaster, the big transport Air Force plane. That's what most of these guys fly around on, the congressional Codels. It's pressurized. I mean, it's a new airplane, but flying a lot. Richard Holbrooke, one of the reasons why he died, and I think he was 68, was getting on and off of these damn airplanes.
Yeah, so Kelly says that may have aggravated his heart condition. He notes that traveling on a C-17 can cause water retention, negatively affect your veins.
It can. Look, you retain water. It does weird things to your veins. It can be a risk, and it probably contributed to his situation.
You know what's also believable is that he told somebody that he wanted to wait until his TV hit on NBC's Meet the Press. Not so much because he was a TV hog and he wanted to be on TV, but, men in general will wait till the last possible moment to get medical attention. Unfortunately, in his case, that was fatal. Lindsey Graham's sister going to fill his South Carolina seat until the end of the term after his unexpected death. I thought this was a nice moment yesterday. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster making the announcement that his sister, who he took care of for most of her life, would take over for him.
It's my honor to ask his little sister, Darlene Graham, to finish his work for him now.
Yes, so Darlene said her brother was always there for her. You no doubt likely know the story that he essentially took over as a parent for her when she was 13 years old after both of his parents had passed away. Here she was yesterday.
My brother was the most amazing person, outstanding leader, and just a genuinely good man.
Yeah, it seemed like the right choice to have her fill the rest of the seat. Now the question was, will she run again? We don't know, but here she was talking about her brother yesterday.
My brother was the most amazing person, outstanding leader, and just a genuinely good man. He was kind and considerate and loved by his family dearly.
Governor McMaster says Graham was serious about his work, but also was kind-hearted and cared deeply about others. 5:12, the U.S. conducting a third consecutive night of strikes against Iran. President Trump speaking from the Oval Office following U.S. Central Command's announcement of the new strikes yesterday.
They want to make a deal. They came back. We made a deal 2 days ago, and they want to make a deal. They've been negotiating for 47 years, but nobody's ever hit them militarily. We're hitting them very hard.
Looking at CENTCOM, they put a post up on X, say this latest strikes were at the direction of the president, will continue to degrade Iran's ability to attack, they say, innocent civilians and commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
We have them in a position that they don't have any military. There's not a thing they can do about it.
And the president said yesterday that the U.S. will eventually be reimbursed for the cost of providing security for the Strait.
Protecting a very rich portion of the world. We're spending money. And so what we've done is we are going to be reimbursed for protection.
Now, this comes after the president says he's reinstating the blockade of the Strait. Now, earlier in the day, the president was on Fox and Friends, and he talked about what the U.S. role will be as the guardian for the Strait of Hormuz going forward.
When we do that, we're going to be reimbursed because the other nations are very wealthy. They're on our side. And we can't be expected to do that for nothing, unlike we had for many years. But we had a deal. What nobody knows, we had a deal. It was a done deal. And then they broke it. They always break it. We've had 10 deals with these people. And so we're just going to hit them very hard. They made all the money, and the United States was just, they wouldn't. It's amazing. We never made, we guarded it for nothing. And now we're going to guard it. We're going to get paid for guarding it. A lot of money.
Now, Iran says it attacked U.S. military sites yesterday overnight in Kuwait, Bahrain, Jordan, and 2 oil supertankers in the Strait of Hormuz. 5:14, Venezuela has put elections on hold as earthquake recovery takes priority there. Feed the Poor and Venezuelan native Cesar Guevara says all humanitarian channels remain open, so emergency supplies are getting to where they need to go now.
We have shipments from air freights that are going on a weekly basis to containers that are being sent via ocean freight to Venezuela.
Now, it's been about 3 weeks since those back-to-back earthquakes struck. The death toll, more than 4,400. There's thousands, though, that are still missing. The interim government will remain in place until elections can be held.
It is chaotic. It is a stretch that, if you can imagine, a stretch of buildings destroyed all the way from Miami to Fort Lauderdale. That's how much the impact is.
Yeah, so there's a major crisis on the ground there that needs to be taken care of first before they can hold those elections.
We just didn't have what was needed as far as machinery to be able to remove the rubble and probably save more people than what has been saved.
And here in the Venezuelan communities in New York and New Jersey, they continue to send supplies to Venezuela. In a moment, we'll head over to St. Louis, where these 2 teenagers went on a shooting rampage. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start out in Philadelphia. St. Louis Cardinals outfielder Jordan Walker edged out hometown hero Kyle Schwarber to win the 2026 Home Run Derby at Citizens Bank Park in Philly, becoming the first player in Cardinals franchise history to take the Derby crown. Walker hit 12 homers in the final to Schwarber's 11 and won it with a walk-off 407-foot blast to left. Tonight, 8 p.m. from Philadelphia, American League versus the National League for your 2026 All-Star Game. Toronto's Dylan Cease will start for the American League, and on the National League side of things, it'll be Philadelphia's Christopher Sanchez getting the start. You will see Yankees first baseman Ben Rice start for the American League. That's 7th in tonight's lineup. And as for the Mets, they've got a starter in right field named Juan Soto starting for the National League, and he will hit 2nd in tonight's NL lineup.
Can I ask you a really stupid question because I'm just not paying attention?
Sure.
Do fans still vote on who goes to the All-Star game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. It's mostly fan voting, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all online, I assume, right?
Mostly, yeah. You can vote. I mean, I think it's up until about a month ago you could vote.
Because I remember as a kid, this was like the most exciting thing is they would hand out these cards at the game and you'd punch the holes.
I used to love those.
Of your favorite players.
Yeah.
And of course, I would go to either a Phillies or Yankees game and I would just pick those players, either the Phillies or the Yankees. But now it's kind of boring. You just go online. They don't do it at the ballpark, do they? Do they encourage you to vote for
No,
the
you do it online. You do it online. They send you something on the app.
Because I remember you'd be at the ballpark and they say, don't forget, punch all the card for the Phillies or whatever.
And in your punch cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there are exceptions, right? Justin Verlander announced he's retiring, so the MLB just decided to give him an automatic, invitation to the All-Star game this year. And you do see the league intervene and,
but otherwise, the fans still do it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Somehow, though, it doesn't seem as big of a deal.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's lost its luster, for sure, over the years. Noam Layden. And we'll check in on the World Cup as well today. Semifinals getting underway 3 p.m. from Arlington, France and Spain. And then tomorrow, 3 p.m. from Atlanta, it is England and Argentina. That is your sports, Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:19. 2 teenagers in custody in East St. Louis after police say they went on a shooting rampage, killing 5 family members, critically injuring 2 others. The Illinois State Police say the shootings took place 3 different locations, including an apartment complex. Samuel McLean Jr., who lives at that complex, discovered some of the victims.
It's not normal to find a woman's body behind a trash can. That's not normal for us to see. And though we feel desensitized to death in a way, this isn't anything I feel desensitized to. Like, this is hard to see.
Yeah, police and prosecutors declined to name the 16 and 15-year-old suspects or reveal their genders a day after they were captured in St. Louis. All they did say is they are related to the people that were shot dead. Down to Florida, just a horrible tragedy there in Kissimmee. Florida investigators continue to look into a deadly gun accident that took the life of a toddler. The local sheriff there says a 4-year-old discovered a loaded gun in a car on Sunday and shot his 2-year-old sibling.
The 4-year-old found the firearm in the vehicle, unsecured, retrieved it, and discharged the firearm, striking the 2-year-old and subsequently killing the child.
And police say the gun was out in the open, unsecured, not holstered. The family was visiting Florida from Georgia and just arrived at a vacation rental there.
According to investigation, a 4-year-old family member located an unsecured firearm inside of the vehicle and discharged it, striking the 2-year-old. But it's literally laying out by itself. So it's easy to grab, and you pull the trigger, and you can't recall that. It's not a video game. You can't hit reset and start over. Once you pull that trigger, that projectile is going somewhere, and this one hit a 2-year-old and killed it.
Yeah, how horrific. No charges have been filed. One person is dead after a shooting involving an immigration and customs enforcement officer in Maine. News Nation's Ali Bradley has more.
This one was that ICE-involved shooting in Biddeford, Maine, early this morning. Advocacy groups are saying it was a 26-year-old Colombian man that was shot and killed here in an altercation with ICE this morning. We don't have a lot of details right now. My sources are telling me the individual who was killed was a target, was someone who they say had a final order of removal.
And now we're hearing they were not a target. ICE officers were not wearing body cameras during the incident. This is the second deadly shooting involving ICE in just a week. 5:22. It's been 2 years since a gunman opened fire at Donald Trump's campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The president's ear was grazed by a bullet. A fire chief there was shot and killed. A new report highlighting the Secret Service failures that day is out. It found the agency did not receive dozens of reports about the search for a suspicious person, which later turned out to be Thomas Crooks, the gunman. News Nation spoke with the widow of Corey Comparatori, Helen, about this report that came out.
Why wouldn't you have reacted from one? If they would have held him back off that stage and not let him go, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
Yeah, Comparatori says she wants President Trump to reach out again because she says she has a ton of questions she believes have been left unanswered since that day. 5:23, a meeting between former President Biden's son Hunter and white nationalist internet personality Nick Fuentes reportedly almost turned physical this past weekend.
The meeting, arranged in a Philadelphia hotel room by independent journalist Andrew Callahan, was set up as a no-limits conversation. According to a report Monday from TMZ, the conversation soon grew tense, and Callahan had to intervene before it came to blows. The meeting is set to air later this month. I'm Mark Mayfield.
California, 11 other states suing now to block Paramount Skydance from taking over Warner Brothers Discovery. California Attorney General Rob Bonta making the announcement yesterday in Los Angeles with the Hollywood sign as his backdrop.
The largest merger in Hollywood history would extinguish competition. It would result in higher prices, lower content quality, and fewer movies and TV shows.
Bonta claims the $110 billion deal would also kill jobs.
This merger will mean fewer journalists informing the electorate. It'll mean fewer opportunities for Americans to hear the full breadth of information and opinions on a subject and then come to their own conclusions.
Now, Paramount Skydance responding in a statement, writing that the lawsuit is wrong on both the facts and the law, and delaying the purchase, they say, will actually hurt workers. The feds approved that merger back in June. 5:24 down to D.C., where President Trump gearing up for next month's Freedom 250 Grand Prix in the nation's capital. Yesterday, he welcomed in several IndyCar drivers to the White House to preview the event.
On August 22nd and 23rd, it'll be an awesome display of American patriotism and raw horsepower and ingenuity.
Yeah, this will be a wild scene. They're going to drive around the streets of Washington, D.C., past some of the iconic monuments. Of course, the White House, too.
I watched all three of you recently do very well. Thank you. Very well. And they're going to go all around the National Mall at speeds that are not quite. If we did that during the regular day, I think people would be put in jail perhaps for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, you can't. The D.C. is the worst traffic. They would not be able to move unless they close those streets. Now, the White House says the race will showcase the majesty of D.C. as drivers navigate a track full of iconic monuments in celebration of America's 250th birthday. That race is going to take place on August 22nd. 525. Did you see this video of this senior citizen being headbutted by a bison at Yellowstone National Park? I had to watch it like 5 times. It is crazy. He is thrown into the air. He flips over. Correspondent Camila Bernal says the video shot by a photographer who was in the area shows the man and his grandson standing some distance away from the animal when all of a sudden it charges at the grandfather.
The 2 visitors stopped to take photos of the animal lying in the grass before it began rolling and then charging at a passing car. The park guests spotted running away from the animal, who proceeded to chase them through the trees. The bison catching up, sending the man flying several feet into the air.
Now, if you see this video, you're like, how did this guy survive this thing? But he did, and apparently he's not in terrible shape.
He says he and other campers ran at the bison, chasing it away and then tending to the man who he says was in a lot of pain. The man's family telling NBC News he underwent surgery and remains at the hospital.
Yeah, and apparently he's going to be okay. Now, the guy who shot this video says things got scary really fast.
I stopped the video because I could see that bison was standing over him and he was pumping his head, very aggressive and agitated. And I knew that somebody had to distract that thing. They were doing everything right. They were respectful. And once the bison showed any agitation, they left. And they were just at the wrong time in the wrong place.
Yeah, we'll think that grandfather, he's really going to be okay.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam.
On 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 14th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today, hot. The high 96. Tonight and overnight clear, low 79, and even warmer for Wednesday. Sun and clouds, high 100. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 72 and clear in Riverhead out on Long Island. It's 70 and clear in Glen Rock over in New Jersey. And it's 71 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 540. A bunch of people sending me this story, just making sure I didn't miss it. New York City parents and caregivers will be eligible to drop off their kids for free in a one-night program at the New York City Parks and Recreation Centers. The idea is to enable those parents and caregivers to have a night off. It's being called the Parents Night Off Program. It's going to take place on Sunday, August 16th. Mayor Mamdani making this announcement yesterday. So the program's free. Now, I'm hearing from parents who are all freaked out. They'd be like, why would you lead your kids off with total strangers at a park and then go out? And I can remember there were times when my kids were a lot younger and, I was tired and I wanted a night off with the wife. And I think I would have left them with a complete stranger back then just to get a night off. But these are not complete strangers. They'll be monitored, I imagine, by a whole host of people. So I know lots of people are freaked out by this, saying, hey, don't leave your kids off with strangers. But it's, if you send your kids to summer camp, you don't know who's the counselors there. Usually works out okay. So in this case, you'll have to pre-register by July 20th if you want a free night out, and your kids will be entertained for a couple hours at a local park in the city. Sounds like a good time for everybody. 541 out to New Jersey, where a daycare owner is under investigation after being accused of giving kids melatonin in order to get them to fall asleep during nap time. The Precious Gifts Daycare Center in Dunellen, it is closed this morning after a tipster told the family that their child was being given melatonin. Well, now they've hired an attorney, and that attorney speaking out yesterday.
Emotionally, this is a lot for him. This is a lot for his family. He's a very vulnerable child for many reasons, because of his age and because he's on the autism spectrum.
And now, so the owner of this daycare center, her name is Cheryl Mbicki. She has been detained by police. The family that reported the the incident chose to remain anonymous for the security of their child, but of course they're livid, thinking that somebody's giving their kid pills. I mean, it's melatonin to a young kid.
The trust was severely broken, where my client had to learn this. And thank God for the anonymous source that was bold enough, and stood up for this child and possibly other children that may have been affected by this extreme negligence.
So inspectors from the State Department of Children and Families, they paid a visit to this daycare center. Its report says not one but 2 children were given melatonin without their parents' permission. Now, there were parents that were giving permission. I'm not sure about that, but it also outlined a list of changes for the facility to make before they will be able to open again. 5:43, while we're in New Jersey, police investigating a major bag heist at a vintage luxury boutique in Morristown. So security camera videos caught several thieves racing into the store. This is the middle of the day, by the way, running off with as much merchandise as they could get their hands on while customers were in the store. The store, Celabella, was stocked up for a big sale that was going to take place today. And the store's owner says he does remember 2 people coming in on Sunday, and he kind of felt like they were casing the place, but he wasn't sure. So you can imagine he's pretty distraught that he didn't report this ahead of time to police.
They got in, got out in like 15 seconds, grabbed as much as they could. They aggressively told us to get out of the way. I'm 100% sure that they were casing and staking the place out.
Yeah, so he says 2 women came in the day before wearing hats and glasses, and he knew something was amiss. One returned yesterday, and minutes later, that's when this group of people ran in, ransacked the store, grabbed as many handbags as they could.
We need to get together and figure out what we can do about this. And the women took 2 Chanels. They're very high-end bags. The rest of them got Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Celine, things like that.
Yeah. So about 32 bags taken in all. It was about $42,000 worth. These crimes of high-end resale shops have become really common. But of course, they're unsettling for the shoppers and the shop owners.
I am still kind of shocked. Yeah. I would say I'm in shock. It hasn't really hit me yet.
So 2 cars were seen outside this store where the crime took place. They took off. Shoppers in Morristown. Surprise, this happened middle of the day.
That's scary to know that that's happening in this neighborhood, because usually Morristown's really a safe place to come.
Sad to hear that the business was impacted that way.
Yeah, so the owner says he plans to reopen the store as soon as possible. In a moment, we'll head out to Long Island and tell you about a gold bar scam that's targeting senior citizens there. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Ellick.
Thank you, Noam Layden. Sports sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers, will start out in Philadelphia, where St. Louis Cardinals outfielder Jordan Walker edged out hometown hero Kyle Schwarber to win the 2026 Home Run Derby at Citizens Bank Park in Philly, becoming the first player in Cardinals franchise history to take the Derby crown. Walker hit 12 homers in the final to Schwarber's 11 and won it with a walk-off 407-foot blast to left. Tonight, 8 p.m., American League versus National League, your 2026 installment of the MLB All-Star Game.
Who are you rooting for?
Who am I rooting for?
The National League or the American League?
No, I'm a Yankee fan, first
so I guess
of all.
The American League.
If I was watching the game and I was invested in the game, I'd be rooting for the American League. But, I'm rooting for Ben Rice to have one at bat, go out there, get a nice little hit, make himself look good in the All-Star game, and then come out of the game. I'm looking for absolutely no Yankees pitchers to see any time out there. I don't want to see anybody waste any energy on their arm during this exhibition game. And then we move on. And we see the Dodgers on Friday for a World Series rematch, and we get the second half going with a bang here in just a couple of weeks. Get Aaron Judge back, you get Giancarlo Stanton back, and then all of a sudden it's a brand new baseball game. How about that?
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah. You going to be watching this World Cup match this afternoon?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How about that? So Ben Rice will start for the American League. He will hit 7th in their lineup, and you will see Juan Soto from the Mets starting for the National League, hit 2nd in the NL lineup. And speaking of that semifinal this afternoon, which I will not be watching, 3 p.m. from Arlington, it's France and Spain. And then tomorrow you get that other semifinal. 3 p.m. from Atlanta. It is England and Argentina, all for the right to play in the World Cup final coming up this Sunday at MetLife Stadium. That is your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:49. Authorities on Long Island warning about a gold bar scam that's targeting senior citizens. The district attorney in Suffolk County, Ray Tierney, says there have been over a dozen cases in Suffolk County just this past year.
Once the gold is handed over to these scammers, the gold and the scammers disappear forever, along with the victim's savings.
Okay, so detectives say they were tipped off about a woman who was about to buy gold bars and then hand them over to scammers. Her bank notified police, who went to the woman's home and discovered the scammers were listening into their conversations through her laptop. Now, Suffolk County Police stopped one incident that almost cost an elderly woman $140,000. In that case, she had responded to a pop-up notification on her laptop, and she was convinced was her bank, that her bank account had been compromised. And so that's the scam, is they convince these seniors that their bank account has been compromised in a way and that they need to turn all of their cash into gold bars. And then they say, we'll come and pick up your gold bars for safekeeping. And a fair amount of seniors, at least 12, have fallen for this so far.
They will spoof numbers. It will say, Suffolk County PD on the victim's caller ID or IRS. Alert them to the fact that these scams exist. Again, they're horrible, horrible people. They will stop at nothing to steal their money.
They're really horrible people. I mean, and, they're masters, apparently, at psychological manipulation. And local lawmakers are proposing a bill that would require now a waiting period for purchasing precious metals, along with interviews for customers over the age of 60. So if some senior comes in and says all of a sudden they want to turn $60,000 into gold bars, they'd have to wait. But of course, that's just one scam. And once that scam's up, of course, they'll just find another one. As we're finding out nearby in Long Island, police asking for the public's help, identifying a man they say posed as a Walmart employee and scammed a customer out of $900 at the Riverhead store. The Suffolk County Police say this happened at the Walmart on Old Country Road. They say the victim, who works at a nearby car dealership, was approached by somebody who was in Walmart clothing, said he could get him a good deal on a TV if he just handed him $900. Now, you think that one would be a little more obvious, but the guy fell for it.
It happens everywhere, unfortunately. There are more people who know how to scam than there are those that don't scam at all.
Yeah, so that individual gave the Walmart employee $900. Of course, he never got the TV because the employee, who was fake, walked away from the store.
You have to be careful no matter where you are. I would be surprised that someone would be so believing in a situation like that.
Well, people fall for things, and sometimes, somebody's really good at manipulating you on the phone or in person, and so you'd be surprised. All kinds of people fall for these scams. 5:52, a 63-year-old, one more story out of Long Island, a 63-year-old Lindenhurst grandmother. She is in serious condition this morning after being hit by her own car when police say it was set in motion by her 8-year-old grandchild yesterday. The police say this child got into his grandmother's Honda, which was parked in the driveway of their home, and pressed the vehicle start button. And that's when Gina Bente saw the car rolling down the driveway and then tried to get into the car because she realized her grandchild was inside. And as she tried to intervene, the driver's side door hit her, causing her to fall. She hit her head on the pavement. The vehicle continued into the roadway. It hit a curb. Thankfully, it came to a stop in the middle of the street. That grandchild is fine, but Bente was transported to Good Samaritan University Hospital. She's in serious condition today. 5:53. Out to Queens, where we got another creep that police have to find. It is a targeted spree that began back in June. It seems someone is stealing those sacred religious statues that people like to put on their front lawn. And this is happening in Howard Beach and in Ozone Park in southwestern Queens. The thief or thieves are specifically stealing those heavy lawn statues of like the Blessed Mother and St. Anthony. And they don't even know how many it is, but they think it's a fair amount at this point. Here's one woman who says she knows of a neighbor who lost a statue.
Overnight. It seems to be more overnight. You're feeling like someone is coming after you because of your faith in Jesus Christ, and we want answers.
Now, police are telling us the string of thefts began in mid-June, escalated in July. It is prompting outrage from neighbors and from City Council member Joanne Areola. This is her district. She says that people should be able to put out these statues of faith on their front lawn and not worry about somebody stealing them.
There had been a number of statues taken from the Rockaway Peninsula outside of a few of the churches, and one of them was damaged, actually. So there seems to be a cluster within my district. We designate this as a hate crime because that certainly has a little more teeth when the person is found and prosecuted.
And eventually they will be fine. The NYPD's 106th precinct, they says they're reviewing surveillance footage to track down these creeps who are stealing the statues.
When that statue is taken, can it be replaced? Yes. But can the meaning behind it, because your grandfather or great-grandfather or father and mother put that statue there and they're no longer with us? No, that cannot be replaced.
Yeah, of course. So meanwhile, some neighbors in Howard Beach say, you know what, I'm going to put my statues out. I'm not taking them in at night, and I'm just going to hope that police and others will protect them.
Howard Beach has always been very resilient, and we're not going to put our statues away. We're going to keep putting them out.
Yeah, I don't blame them. 5:55, Mayor Mamdani is working on holding companies accountable to a new rule that mandates they give customers the option to cancel a subscription with a one click. I'm sure you've run into this where you have some app you've downloaded and then you realize you're being charged for it, and then you can't figure out, and it's not easy to figure out, purposely so, how to cancel that thing. Well, the mayor says this new law would make it so you could do that in one click, and it'd be easy to find if you want to cancel something you've downloaded.
I'm currently subscribed to something that I don't even know my login for.
Yeah.
But they have my credit card information. And I don't know how to cancel it.
It is the most annoying thing I've had that happen to me before. The administration starting to build an online portal that allows New Yorkers to file complaints against companies that don't follow this new rule.
The platform will not only provide recourse for New Yorkers who are being exploited, it will also provide a database that City Hall will use to hold violators accountable.
Yeah, so the mayor says he is starting to build this online portal that would allow New Yorkers to file those complaints against companies that trap customers in subscriptions that are almost impossible to cancel. And one last story with the mayor. He says, yes, he will be in the crowd at MetLife Stadium for the World Cup final on Sunday. The mayor was asked if he has any plans to speak with President Trump, who's going to hand out the World Cup trophy at the end of the match. Here's what he had to say.
For Sunday's final, my focus will be on the game, and I anticipate just watching for 90 or 120 or maybe even penalties as well.
Yeah, you'll remember the mayor and the president were both at Madison Square Garden for Game 3 of the NBA Finals, but they are, of course, seated in very different sections. The mayor was in the nosebleeds. The president sat in the box with the Knicks owners.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?